Jeff Hardy's mind is in an entirely different world compared to his brother Matt. Hardy's visions of art and music is so out there. He's very creative, and of course his creativity made its way to wrestling. His entrance music in TNA was some of the craziest stuff you'll listen to. The face paint was an amazing addition to his look, and just overall he's different, and a bunch of us like that. By 2013, Hardy had been comfortably re-established in TNA. He captured the title 3 times, was involved in countless iconic and memorable moments, but he still had a hunger for gold. Hardy failed to beat Magnus in the TNA World Championship Tournament, as Rockstar Spud screwed him over, leading to Magnus becoming the new champion. This in itself led to Hardy losing a handicap match with Sting. At this point, Hardy felt that he let everyone down. He said that the reason he came into the wrestling business was because of Sting. Without him, without Sting, there would have never been a Jeff Hardy. Hardy's guilt and drop of form led to him quitting TNA. He said that he won't return to TNA until the sun shines in this dark kingdom. He showed love to the fans and left. A couple of months later, a Masked Wrestler's vignettes aired with this person complaining about all kinds of things, and the vagueness got me a little bit dizzy here. He said something along the lines of getting lost in Willow's ways, and it was clear as day that this was Jeff Hardy. His voice, for one, was very distinctive, and one thing to mention is that in his own promotion with Matt, Omega, they used to feature this character Willow the Wisp. But with that said, Willow said that God did a lot in 7 days, and we're about to find out what he does. What Willow was is simple as this. It was an extension of Jeff Hardy's mind. This is what the commentary had constantly been mentioning. This is Jeff Hardy's darkest side. MVP wanted to eradicate the corruption that Dixie Carter brought upon TNA, and Jeff Hardy's reasonings for leaving had mostly to do with her, so he wanted to bring him in as the final member of his lockdown team. Jeff Hardy was locked out of the building initially, but he turned up as the final member of Team MVP as Willow. Willow was just as exciting and wild as Jeff Hardy was, and if anything, probably more. His team was victorious, meaning Dixie was out. Did this mean Willow the Wisp was gone? No, this was only the beginning. Because Jeff Hardy may have said that he won't return until the sun has shined in this dark kingdom, but he preferred to be Willow at this point. He made his official debut later that week on Impact facing Rockstar Spud. Hardy's darkest secrets were coming to life and his offense was more aggressive. He was far too aggressive here, getting himself disqualified, and Willow even dropped the referee with a twist of fate. Hardy's mind was going all out, and Rockstar Spud, the man responsible for costing him the title, was getting destroyed. He went after his knee and took him out. Willow followed up by attacking Ethan Carter III, and similar to last week, he blew out his knee. Hardy was on the verge of hitting the splash from the top, but Carter made a run for it. Later that night, MVP wanted him to do a favor and face Magnus, but Willow went on about how politics are the evils of the world, and this segment was goofy. Hardy's tone was absolutely hilarious. He was like, why embrace the politics of the world? Something along the lines of that. But anyways, with Hardy posing a huge threat to their status in TNA, Rockstar Spud and EC3 felt that they should go looking for Willow in the forest. Spud wasn't interested in vengeance. Carter, on the other hand, felt very offended that Willow attacked him in his home, Impact Wrestling. Spud was all worried, saying it's almost nighttime when it was literally noon, and Willow ended up kidnapping him. EC3 was left thinking it was a joke. Then he realized what's up and threatened to burn this place to the ground if he doesn't give him Spud. He did find him, but Willow was doing some mind games before emerging from behind. This led to a tag team match between the two, as Willow teamed up with Bully Ray to face Ethan Carter III and Bobby Roode in a tables match. During the match, Willow was sidetracked with Rockstar, who was in a wheelchair, and carried him to the back. They ended up losing because of the numbers advantage. Once again, Willow the following week crossed paths with EC3 and Rockstar Spud during the number 1 contenders battle royal. Spud screwed him out of the title because why not? Now Rockstar had to make a run for it despite claiming he was in a wheelchair. He's all happy with Dixie Carter when all of a sudden Willow comes in and causes chaos. Hardy had a score to settle with Spud and EC3, so he challenged them to a handicap match. Carter motivated Spud like hell, telling him he's the one that sent Hardy away from TNA. Willow, on the other hand, said that Spud reminds him of dirty boogers, and EC3 reminds him of dirty sheets, and said that the dream transforms into a nightmare? I don't even know what the hell that meant. He rises victorious in Willow's way, is what he said before ending the segment. Facing these two was a bit of a problem, but not a huge one, as Hardy cruised through and won the match. After the match, EC3 attacked, and just as he's going for the leg lock, Kurt Angle interrupted. Angle went straight after EC3 in line of being retired by him, and he promised to go after him, and he was a man of his word. This led to a tag team match between the four as Sacrifice. For EC3, the focus was mostly on Kurt Angle. A Rockstar Spud, on the other hand, was all about Willow, the man who put him in a wheelchair. The motive for both Angle and Willow was redemption. Dixie Carter and her guys, EC3 and Rockstar Spud, played a part in his demise and disappearance towards the end of the year. They unlocked a side which was buried deep inside the charismatic Enigma, a side nobody thought even existed. This match wasn't that notable. Hardy was 4-nighting it here, and as scary as Willow was, EC3 found a way to isolate him away from the Olympic hero. The babyfaces though managed to turn things around, and once again it was Rockstar Spud who fell victim. Okay, what was next? Later that week on Impact, Willow had a quick match with Cowboy James Storm. The match was very heated and back and forth, but because this was a Willow match, it ended in a disqualification. The altercation almost went awry for Willow as James Storm was about to bring in broken glass, but Mr. Anderson de-escalated it with a mic check. So now Hardy's went through EC3, he went through Rockstar Spud, all that was left was now Magnus. Willow made mention of the Dixieland match that saw Hardy on the verge of capturing the title, but a push from Rockstar Spud brought Magnus to gold. Willow said that he doesn't fear Magnus's reign because he has an umbrella. The hell? Similar to the previous match, it ended in a DQ, but this time Magnus and Bram double-teamed Hardy and left him laying. As a result of this, Willow faced Magnus and Bram in a handicap match. They accepted his challenge, immediately attacking him in the staircase, and these two were doing a number on. It was clearly overwhelming, but a moment of error from Magnus, when he refused to take a weapon from Bram, led to Hardy stealing the victory. This caused issues between Bram and Magnus. He wanted to make good by his friend and got him a false count anywhere match against Willow, but the problem was Magnus didn't think he was fit to talk for him. He's like, oh, you just joined TNA, you're out here thinking you're all that. They had big problems, but things seemed cool when it was time for the match. This time around, Magnus did use the weapon handed to him by Bram, but he had a change of heart, and it led to Hardy hitting Twist of Fate. His error was having remorse, and Bram was not happy about it at all. Bram's goal is to give Magnus an example. He wanted to show him the violence in his match with Willow. However, Magnus thought he was underestimating Jeff Hardy. He told him that he's never dealt with someone like him, and he also mentioned that he was the one that made him into this after beating him for the world title. Willow brought it during the match, and so did Bram, but not enough to the point where he was going to win the match. Why? Because he was going to get himself disqualified. But Magnus put a stop to this and instead did it himself. Bram was loving this and both men were back on the same page. Bram said that Jeff Hardy needs an alter ego to get an edge, and once he heard this, he came out. Willow came out all limping, and one thing to mention is that Hardy was speaking to somebody a few minutes earlier. Willow said that he's not responsible for his actions under this mask, and he said that he's Jeff Hardy's imagination. He said that where Jeff Hardy doesn't go, he does. Willow chants intensify, and he told Magnus that he awoken something in him, and at Slammiversary, they'll take him down. Magnus though wasn't worried, saying he's got Bram as insurance policy. Willow said that they're ready to fight, and this is when Bram called out the alter ego thing. He promised that on Sunday, they'll have somebody by their corner. It was Abyss. A brawl ensues between both sides. Willow clotheslines Magnus to the outside. Abyss follows up with Bram, and the momentum had clearly swung in Jeff Hardy and Willow's favor. Bram fought like hell to bring out Magnus's true side, but now he's got to deal with an unpredictable Willow and Abyss by his side. Magnus was very aggressive during the match, and Willow couldn't find an answer at the moment. It was very basic stuff. Willow makes the comeback and gets a near fall, but he misses a swanton, and Abyss on the outside is brawling with Bram. Magnus comes in and Willow dives onto them, and he was on the verge of victory with a Twist of Fate, but Magnus kicked out. It was getting heated on the outside and inside. Magnus drops Willow to win the match. It's just there. It's not bad or anything like that, but it's not notable. It was very basic, very normal, very average match. Willow and Abyss teamed up later that week to challenge for the tag team titles in a triple threat match with Samoa Joe and Austin Aries. Of course, the match was fast-paced, it was good, but Willow took the pinfall, and the Wolves retained the titles. As for Magnus and Bram, they faced Abyss and Willow in a monster ball match. This was Abyss's match type. This was the match he was excelling, he was the best at. The heels, though, emerged victorious despite the situation, and that was it for Willow. Because, as he said, he will not return to TNA until the sun had shined in his dark kingdom. On the July 10th, 2014 episode of Impact, Kurt Angle, the new director of operations, called for Willow to come out. Now, as I said, TNA was corrupt. Dixie Carter was running things and frustrated Jeff Hardy to the point where he became Willow. MVP comes in, he's deceiving, but now Kurt Angle as the director of operations was nothing like the previous two. Angle understood Willow. Dixie Carter was the one that took advantage of him, and Hardy needed a dark place that brought violence. So that's why Willow was here. Now Dixie Carter and MVP weren't here, so Angle didn't want Willow to be in the battle royal. He wanted the most competitive wrestler, Jeff Hardy. Hardy chants intensify, and Angle says that he doesn't want Willow to leave forever, just for tonight. By the end of the night, Jeff Hardy returned and won the battle royal. So that's Willow. I personally feel that it was almost too weird, but at the same time, Hardy was so passionate about it. The thing is, I feel just a little was missing from it. We all know why he became Willow, but I think it would have helped if he had some live promos, in the arena. Another thing to mention is that he had his motives. He was dark, aggressive in ring, but it felt like he was only a little different from Jeff Hardy. He wasn't that scary in ring. Rockstar Spud was one of the only people who was scared of him. He did some stuff, but there was a lot more to explore with the Willow character back in 2014. I think if Hardy did this thing earlier in his career, I don't know if it would have worked, but I'm pretty sure he would have done a lot more with it. It's very hard to say. But Willow was literally a thing. It's really hard to judge it. I can't really say it was terrible or good. It was literally in the middle. Hardy was very passionate about it. I did like the look, the mask looked very, very, very cool. But it didn't last long to really give a surefire opinion on it. 2 years later, Hardy brought back Willow for a short time during the Matt Hardy Broken era, which is why I made this video in the first place. I thought to myself, hey, we're going to do Broken Matt Hardy, but we had to do Willow first. So there it is. Alright, what do you guys think of Willow? Please comment down below, and that's the first video. Make sure you hit the whisper in the wind on the like button, or perhaps the swanton bomb on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.